Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. I'm Matthew Barber. Joining me this week is R. Richard Trabwell.
Hello.
And Joseph Druitt.
I'll Joseph Druitt.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping it brief. Thanks for joining us once again. Always nice to have you with us and listening. We're doing a bit of a sort of kind of almost fruity free flow episode today. We're kind of talking about radlers and the like. Summer beverages abound. It is that sort of time of year. We're going to talk about a couple of particular highlights that we've been sampling recently. Before we do that, I'm going to pass to Drabbers. He has got a quite riveting, up to the minute news update for us. So, Rich, tell us about the hot topic.
We were having a chat about this before we started recording, and we were thinking that we would quickly touch on it right now before we start talking about radlers, but we were saying we'll probably dive into a bit deeper once there's a bit more information about it. But the pub giant Marston's has left the brewing industry after agreeing to sell a 40% stake in its brewing company for $206 million. So the firm announced on Monday that it sold its stake in Carlsberg Marston's brewing company, so a joint venture valued at $780 million to Carlsberg.
So sort of buying their way out of it, kind of. Well, selling out of it and going washing their hands.
Yeah, they're just kind of done with it, really, by the sounds of it.
Well, it was interesting reading the article as well, because they said that they basically, that money, that $206 million, I think you quoted, would go a long way to kind of get them out of debt. So it sounds like they've been in a real issue. I mean, let's face it, no one enters into a joint venture unless there's a reason, like one person is basically, of the venture is not doing great, but they haven't got enough to like take over fully. So that's why some joint ventures can happen, basically, which I think it sounds like, if we're reading between the lines, that was the scenario with the Carlsberg Marston Brewing Company joint venture. Carlsberg was basically wanted to buy them out. Marston's were in a bit of a sticky wicket, and they did. And then this is just basically the continuation. Because when did that merger happen? We reported that must have been only a few years ago where that kind of joint venture started happening.
I think it was 2020 that venture started happening. So a few years ago, but it sounds, I think this was around, so last Monday was when this was kind of all agreed. And I think it's something they're combining with Britvic as well. They're taking over that, who make Robinsons and J2O and all of that stuff.
It's quite funny how when we first started talking about it, we kind of were all scrabbling. And that's not to take anything away from us. The most studious of beer fans might not have remembered exactly who was involved, but we were going, hang on, what beer brands does this affect? So what did we cover? So Pedigree, Wainwright, Banks.
Hobgoblin, wasn't it? We discovered as well.
Yeah.
We just found out there.
Hobgoblin.
Was it Witchwood Brewery?
We discovered we'd missed the November news of the Witchwood Brewery closed.
Yep.
The Witchwood Brewery closed. Yeah.
Fully closing. Yeah, so the Carlsberg Marston Company closed the Witchwood Brewery in November 23, which is massive news and a bit of a shock to us.
Fast-moving industry, people, you blink and you'll miss something very important.
But I guess this is the whole thing, right? This all does move so quickly. You know, although there are a lot of breweries, and we will be talking obviously in more depth now that we're coming up to our 200th episode in a few episodes' time. And although there are breweries that are massive, there are breweries that have lasted a long time, things change on a dime. You know, it's what we're feeling at the moment in the industry at the moment with breweries. We know a lot of the craft brewers are feeling it at the moment, aren't they? And actually, this shows the big players in the regional players are really feeling it as well.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with all the Marston's products, and actually, are they going to keep them all? Are they going to streamline it? Are they going to push? Are they going to try and push some old classics back out there? Are we going to see a resurgence, or are we going to see some of the old favourites die off?
I'm the skeptic in me says it's going to be more the latter. I think they're going to consolidate what they have. They'll have stock take of what's selling, what's got potential in the future, and then they'll just be quite ruthless and be like, right, well, Banks has got like a cult following, but it's not big enough to make it worthwhile anymore. So 3 years time, that won't exist anymore. And it won't be immediate, but it'll happen.
Well, looking through a lot of the Marston's stock, it does seem to favour Barber's taste palette more than my own. So, in all honesty, if they want to get rid of some of them, that's okay. That's okay.
You would quite happily see me killed off, wouldn't you?
That's some serious shots fired right there, Barbs.
Yeah, I do really like pedigree.
Yeah, I've got a lot of love and respect for you, just not your beer taste.
It's an absolute filthy lie. You have very little love or respect for me. maybe love, but no respect.
No respect.
I'm going to rise above it. Yeah.
Good rising.
Good rising above it.
Shall we cleanse our palate from this somewhat potentially travestating news? And as the guys alluded to, this is a breaking story, and we will bring you new updates on this over the next months as the story develops, basically, and as we start seeing things happening and changing. Because this is big news for especially the UK market. Marston's has obviously been a big player for so many years, and it was huge news when they took the joint venture with Carlsberg in the first place, and now to know that they're no longer going to exist and it's going to be pure Carlsberg inheriting all their brands, as Rich said. Let's see what happens, so it'll be something I'm sure we'll circle back to. Talking of cleansing the palate, what have you guys been drinking over the summer?
Pimm's, okay.
I haven't actually opened it yet, but you know what? I saw in my favourite, reputedly low-cost supermarket, I found, because I don't see them everywhere, I bought a little pack of Modelo.
Oh, do you like a Modelo?
Yeah, that sort of nice, light, fresh.
You mean the number 2 beer in the US, taken over from Bud Light?
I was like, it was, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. But
I've been drinking.
Go on then.
I've been drinking Foster's, which you didn't expect me to say that now, would you?
Well, no, but you're going to say it's Foster's with a twist.
It's the Foster's proper Shandy. This has exploded in popularity in the last, it's hit the shelves in the last month or so. And I hate to admit it, guys, it's a ruddy good Shandy.
It is really good. I was expecting to pop it open and be really annoyed at how bad it was with Foster's, but God, it's good. God, it is good.
I guess I'm encapsulating how you were feeling beforehand, because I have not deigned to purchase any so far. But you think it's worth a try?
100%.
I think it's a must try. It's a must try. And I don't think, because it's not going to be for everyone. And I'm going to say this is a good move for Foster's, because Foster's, it is the number 1, if not number 2, sold beer in the UK. So it already has this huge, following and sales market. But this is actually drinkable. Now, it's obviously Foster's.
Bold new strategy for Foster's.
It's a bold strategy, Colin. See if it pays off. Now, I am not disputing for a second that the reason that this Foster's is drinkable is because it's so sweet and sugary that it masks the Foster's taste. I am abundantly aware that is why this is quite a nice tasting drink. But actually in the summer months, and the fact that it's 3%, as all shandies should be, it's very palate cleansing. It's very refreshing cold. It's been very enjoyable.
It's almost a slightly less intense. You remember Hooch from back from when
I love a Hooch though. I love a Hooch.
It's just that's just sugar,
yes,
and
that is pure sugar. That's
pure
why
sugar.
I love it so much.
Less intense Hooch.
Yeah,
I think Foster's should have put that in quotation marks at the bottom of the can.
So I'll give you the reasoning behind this, because this feels like Foster's don't really do innovations in beer. They don't really come out with new beer types. They are who they are. As we have established very clearly in our Foster's episode, they are not an Australian beer, but they trade on being Australian because it sells well in the UK, because it is Melbourne based, blah, blah. But go to Australia, there's no Foster's you'll ever find, But why do you think they've done this? Because this is the biggest thing that they've done for a very long time.
Is it just avoiding that sort of potential Foster's market saturation? They've got, as you say, it's really, really widely consumed in the UK. And I just thought, is there going to be a point where people start going, or turned off that? Is it, the emergence of people like Madry? We have to do something different. I think Foster's Continental might not work. So they went,
Is it somebody, I was going to say, is it somebody accidentally ordered a load of lemons instead of hops? And they were like, we've really screwed it here. We've got to, when
purchasing gives you lemons, make Radler.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I've been kind of digging a bit deeper in this, because I've been questioning myself about why do I think this Foster's Shandy exists. And I don't know if you remember, but back in the 2010s, there was another Foster's that wasn't just the lager. It was the Foster Radler. Do you remember the Foster's Radler? 2% ABV, cut with lemon.
That's not this, then?
No, this is Shandy. 3% Shandy.
Oh, sorry,
very
Shandy.
Clear distinction. This is very different.
Yeah, I've got a vague recollection.
So that was out in the market from 2013. I know I've looked it up because I was like, there was something else this reminds me of. 2013, discontinued in 2020. 4 years later, they come out with a proper Shandy, which is a 3% lager top, basically, which I'm now understanding accounts for 4.5% of all serves in the on-trade, which, if you guys are following the on-trade, Rich, what does on-trade mean?
Nope. I haven't
Bravo.
a clue.
Do you want to follow on?
I wasn't paying attention to what.
Okay.
So,
but
the
age-old
sales on
question.
trade, did you say?
What is the
the
difference?
distribution channel?
What is the difference between on-trade and off-trade?
Is that like stage left and stage right?
It's exactly like that.
Is
Very
it?
different.
Yeah. Somebody's carrying some beers on a tray and somebody's carrying them off a tray.
Trade, not tray.
Sure.
That might have been part of the
Trade.
confusion, Richard.
You think we've been saying on-tray and off-tray?
Yeah, you never know.
No, that's on-tray, my friends.
Yeah, on tray, yeah.
On tray you have before a main course. Off trade you do to retail.
Yes. So, off-trade.
Nutshell.
Off-trade is retail and supermarkets. On-trade is on-premise, basically. So that's pubs, that's, tap rooms, that's,
Okay.
restaurants even. Whereas off-trade is when you basically go sell it in a supermarket or at B&M Bargains. Or what was the other place that you've found beer in recently, Rich? Which always bemuses me. They sell beer.
Wise Buys.
That's Wise Buys I get. Because it's selling coming to be out today. No, it was like a Home Sense or something.
There was like a Wilco. So I've done a Wilco, a Home Bargains. What else? There's some other. The Range. I think I got some in
the Range.
Yeah, I was buying bleach. I think, and that was I can't remember. There's.
Please don't mix the two up.
Yeah.
So technically that's all classed as off trade, but I'd say that's very off trade.
Yeah.
That's not your usual distribution channels. So this proper Shandy is only available off trade at the moment.
Oh, okay. I could see this going down well in a pub.
Well, but their pub's already covered. You can already get a Shandy top, can't you? Which would probably be a Foster's with lemonade. Yeah, so they're already covered.
But they're not. But this is clearly cloudy lemonade. This isn't
Clearly
other lemonade.
Cloudy. Explain more. What do you mean?
Clearly cloudy.
So this is cloudy lemonade because when you have a Shandy in a pub, it's clear lemonade or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Clear lemonade. But cloudy lemonade, it tastes like cloudy lemonade.
I quite like that idea of you going into the pub and saying, "Can I have a lager top, please?" And they go, "Yeah, fine." And you get the gun out to do the lemonade. You go, "No. I want Fentimans."
Yeah, that's it.
This is my top.
100%. But this is
so, and they go, "Sorry, you want to pay £3 for the bit of lemonade that I'm going to put on top, opening this Fentimans bottle?"
Yes, and and I'm happy for you to keep 85% of the bottle.
But you know what I mean, Joe. You're drinking this. This isn't cheapy clear lemonade. This is expensive cloudy lemonade that's got into this.
I'm afraid I hate to break it to you, Rich. I'm not sure it's even lemonade.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Foster's. It's going to be artificial. You know, this isn't a company that knows itself on craft and stuff. I don't think it's going to be lemonade. I'm fully could eat my words on this, but I think this is like lemon flavouring and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to be something like that, basically.
Soda.
Well, I'm gonna still say it tastes, whatever the flavouring is, it tastes of cloudy lemonade, not clear lemonade.
So they've nailed it on the artificial lemonade.
Lemon juice and clouds.
Well, this reminds me, Joe, you know when we were working in Spain and you'd have a Clara, which is the Spanish version of a Shandy.
How did she feel about that?
Yeah, that was with cloudy lemonade.
That was with Clara.
Yes. Been a while,
yes, no, it was. You're right. It does. It has a more sophisticated. For Foster's, it's a very sophisticated taste.
I was going to say, I don't think sophisticated has ever been used in the same time as Foster's.
I'm needing to choose my words very carefully now. Yes.
It tastes better than Foster's.
So why do you think they've brought this out? I'm intrigued to hear your guys' views on this. About why do you think they've brought this out? Outside of the fact that they are citing the fact that on trade, that 4.5% of all sales of beer on trade are lager tops, which is fine, but that's quite a weak thing to be like, this is why we're going to bring a whole ready to drink. Is all it is ready to drink, but you know.
It whiffs faintly of, has there been a recent change in duty on ABV or something like that? If they're going
that's
to
interesting.
have an option out there that's by dropping down the ABV, there's probably have to, they'll have someone that size.
So you think they're getting some sort of like they're making some sort of like write-off?
I'm sure they would have. I'm sure they would have seen an opportunity if there was one there.
Because I think for me, I don't. Well, sorry, Rich, carry on, mate.
No, I was going to say I currently think the market is flooded with so many alternatives to beer. You've got your seltzers, your heavily flavoured ciders that are coming, like your Thatchers are coming out with like your blood orange. They've got a cloudy lemonade cider and other things like that. And I think the market is so saturated at the moment with just slightly different alternatives to beer, in all honesty. And I think this is just their offering. They've just gone, we need to get in on the market with something that not everybody who drinks beer, but they still want that ABV content, because 3% is still, it's lower than normal, and I think it's just for people who don't want a beer, and Foster's are only selling poor quality lager. So they've gone, right, we need to put something that's going to appeal to the other market, the people who aren't drinking the beer.
Richard has stoked something within me there. Haven't all recent beer trends marketing people been identifying how young people don't drink a lot of alcohol or are favouring lower alcohol options? I think this is going to be their gateway beer.
I think this is exactly what they're trying to tap into. This kind of growth of moderation of, kind of don't want to go over the boards. You might want to have a drink, but they want to drink low. The growth of low ABV, we know it. We've seen it with non-alc growth. But low ABV has been just as popular, if not more so.
Yeah.
And I think this is a major player, i.e. the number one, if not number two, selling beer in the UK, getting in on the act. I think this is their move.
I think as 18, 19-year-old me turning up to house parties with a crate of Foster's, imagine if it was slightly less alcoholic and tasted better. Right, this is Damascene conversion.
If only we had the confidence back
yeah.
then, Barbs, not to get completely just thrown out the party, basically, by doing that.
Oh, well, I'm well done for not highlighting that I just didn't get invited in the first place. But thanks.
So I think you're right. I think that's exactly what they do. And also for me as well, I don't know about you guys, I always feel like Shandy has always been around, but it's for some people, they're calling it nostalgic. To have a Shandy is always
it's a throwback,
nostalgic.
isn't it, actually? Yeah.
I absolutely love a Shandy. I will quite happily go to the pub and be like, I'll have a Shandy, please. Because they're fantastic. Who doesn't love a Shandy?
Would you ever go for? This is just like I'm stoking the Drabbers and Barbs culture war. But would you ever have a bitter Shandy?
No, because I'm not a moron.
A bitter Shandy's delicious as well.
Such vitriol and hatred. I'm just going to get us warmed up with a. How about a bitter Shandy? No.
In all honesty, I don't think I've ever had a bitter Shandy, so I can't really pass comment on this one.
I just thought
bitter Shandies are great.
100%. He's never even tried one.
I was going to say.
I'd love to know if you were to try a bitter Shandy, and then you sort of maybe went, "That's quite good, actually." What would then happen if you maybe put a lemonade top into a pint of Timothy Taylor's? I'd like to see your
It would have to be cloudy, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's not a scrubber. He's not just putting White's lemonade in.
Yeah,
in his Timothy Taylor's.
What is that lemonade that you get in a packet? You have to open up, put water in, then add your own sugar in to taste, and then mix it up.
You know what? Look, I'm ever a man of science, so I would more than happily give it a go.
Just weird throwback to earlier on. Sorry, the Shandy, the Foster Shandy's 3%. Is that right?
Yeah, it's right.
What was the cost?
Cheap.
I was thinking it would be.
So they are also, it's Foster's, they are tapping into the fact that people want this moderation beer, but also at a very affordable price. Because it's Foster's at the end of the day, you're not paying a premium for Foster's.
Well, it was funny. It put me, I started to think when you were asking about why have they done it, I thought, well, they're not trying to take people away from what I recently tried, which is my local, the Sanford, where you chaps have been with me. They had the Colonel on tap and had the IPA, but they had their table beer on as well for 3%, but for the princely sum of £7 a pint. I did have one, and that's why I was still wiping the tears from my face when I joined the episode.
And be like, but I'm supporting small breweries.
I really love their whole ethos. Yeah.
It is really hard to support a local business sometimes.
But yeah, well, there's two sort of extremes of what you can have at 3%. If anyone was wondering about that, I don't think they were.
Well, I don't know. I think I paid something like £4.65 for a 4-pack, but yeah,
it's hard to beat that. You can't. And this is the issue. I would never pick up a Foster's a 4-pack or any pack normally, but this is actually, we've gone back and bought more because my wife absolutely adores this because it's tapping into what she's like, oh, that's quite nice, 3%, and it's things. So, and I'm enjoying it as well. So I've got two things before I can close up on what I wanted to get out of this whole conversation about it. Two things. One, taste-wise, is it as good as it tastes? Is it the best you can have in the market? No, absolutely not. Why I know that is because we have recently spoken with West Brewing, and on the back of that, received their Velo Radler Lemon Beer. It is incredible. It's such a good beer, and again, this is a beer that is brewed this is a beer that brews to the highest standards of the German purity laws, and they've made a Radler. This thing is insane. So I've been drinking the proper Shandy, and then I've had a couple of sips from the Radler. They're just worlds apart. You can't compare the two. So rightly so, because this Radler is just like next level to it. So, no. Foster's, although we're talking about it in a way of like, wow, this is really tasty, there are degrees and spectrums of tasty. We're talking about tasty from the actual Foster's or normal beer lager to where this one is. And this is now like actually palatable. Like, okay, great, I love it. And it's probably full of, crap and it's cheap but it's doing what its job. So there's the one thing I want to talk about. The next thing was something about the three most redundant words that I have seen in a newspaper article for a while that made me really laugh. And I wanted to ask you guys if you felt the same way. And maybe it's because I work in marketing, but it was like these three words is that this launch of Proper Shandy was going to be supported by, and I quote, a disruptive marketing campaign, end quote. And I just felt like, surely all marketing campaigns choose to try and be disruptive. Otherwise, it's like, we're doing a blending in marketing campaign. People will completely ignore us.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, is it, what's the term? Is it guerrilla marketing? Is that the one where you're not meant to know it's coming?
Yeah, guerrilla marketing, native advertising is the big thing. That's where influencers kind of fit into. No, guerrilla's like the one where you kind of, you jump, like someone's, like Wimbledon's happening. You're not an official sponsor of Wimbledon, but you turn up anyway and it's like how, how Jubel did it, where they had, when they were walking towards Twickenham.
Yeah.
And Brewdog were doing the big, their new stout, they were doing a big thing, and Jubel put a toilet down just up the road from them and said, put your Brewdog beer in here and we'll give you a free Jubel. That's guerrilla marketing. That's like off the back stuff that's quite fun. It's like activating. No, this is a disruptive marketing campaign.
but what's it disrupting? There's so many marketing out there for this sort of stuff anyway. Like,
it's the most redundant three words I've ever heard. It's like, of course, surely all marketing campaigns choose to try and be disruptive, because otherwise it's like, we're going to do a blending in marketing campaign that doesn't do anything.
I also feel like disruptive sounds like, to me, disruptive always has negative connotations.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrupted. I'd like to be gently informed.
Yeah. Are they just going for the just stop oil approach when it comes to their marketing? Just, oh God, they're really annoying me.
Because that would be actually meaningful, and we're not talking about anything meaningful. They're trying to sell this Proper Shandy. So, no.
I quite like the idea, actually, a disruptive marketing campaign is actually them just getting, like an intern to go and streak at a football match.
Yeah.
So, buy our beer! Just get wiped out by Stewart. Yeah.
Or doing that at the House of Commons. Now, that's very disruptive.
Yeah. I would buy their Shandy. I would.
Keir Starmer, first day, naked, running through the streets of London.
Yeah.
Buy Foster's Shandy.
The political analyst, that was disruptive.
Yeah. So, yeah. Good. Foster's Proper Shandy. I
Try
like it.
We don't need to do Foster's. We don't need to do Foster's as numbers. It's just lots in it.
It's lots. Well, also especially when you say because they're owned by Heineken, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Big. You've heard of them.
Yeah, they're pretty well known. I think I've said it a few times in this podcast recording, but they're number one, if not number two, sold beer in the UK. So yeah, pretty damn big. And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
Barbara,
and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.